Welcome to Östersund. 250 sleeps since the sun set in Oslo after a thrilling 24-25 BMW IBU World Cup. A new dawn rises on the Olympic season as we kick off a new chapter in biathlon history. And here is where we start today with the women's 4x6 kilometre relay. Fresh faces lining up alongside some of the best to ever do it, with the greatest accolade up for grabs in February. A warm 4 degrees, and we have had some rain over the course of the last couple of days here in Sweden. Of course, one of the spiritual homes of biathlon, and there is really no better place to kick off what we hope will be an incredible Olympic season. Those final preparations. The new season is finally here. And, well, no group more happy to see it than the fans who pack out the stands. And, of course, the Scandinavian love in full flow today. A modern and compact stadium on the edge of a beautiful pine forest, which we will see plenty of over the course of the next hour or so. And here is how the teams line up today. France, Norway and Germany, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Great to see the return of Vanessa Voigt, who will be leading Germany out today, and of course Hedvig Volz as well. As we take a look down the start order. There is really no better way to kick things off. We have 21 teams on the start line today. And there they are in all their glory. Expect to see Belgium climbing up the order today. They've had some excellent early season results for Mia Kloten and Lotte Lee in particular. And of course, all eyes will be towards the front of the order. France, in such dominant form last season, didn't finish outside the top 3 once. World champions as well. With an exciting lineup. Well, the home crowd favour the Swedish team, who, if you go by any of the early season results, they look to be back and fighting. And of course, this is the first of 58 competitions across 9 World Cup venues. We know how challenging Ostersund can be as a course at times. Alongside myself, Ellen Ellard, it's great to welcome back former USA biathlete and coach Chad Salmela. Chad, it's been a quick turnaround. Let's take a look at the Italian team first up, being led out by Dorothea Vera, who has made a good start to her season through the early races.
Open or close?
Close.
And a big welcome back to Vanessa Voigt. Started so well, of course, last season, but admitted that her mind, her body just weren't quite there and working as she wanted. She will lead Germany out today. And of course, despite starting behind France in the second row, they will have a big chance today. Jean Richard waving and acknowledging the crowd. The youth on the first 2 legs for France today, alongside them Sweden, and just listen to the roar.
Johanna Skottheim with a chance to thrill the Swedish crowd. Love to see her back on the start and leading it out for Sweden.
Yep. And alongside her, Carolina Offigstad Knotten. There will be, of course, plenty of Norwegian faithful in the crowd as well. There always are, wherever we travel around Europe and indeed around the world on this BMW IBU World Cup tour. So here we go. The countdown has started in the stands. The fans have been here since the crack of dawn, and indeed following training over the course of the last couple of days as well. 21 teams we have on the start line. The cry of 30 seconds rings out around the stadium here in Östersund. Focus on the face of Jean Richard. Can she continue the excellent form that she and her French team carried through last season?
Amazing what a world or what an Olympic year will do for a swelling of the crowd in the opening World Cup in Sweden. Look at that gallery, it's huge.
So here we go. The 25-26 BMW IBU World Cup season is underway. An Olympic season where the stakes just couldn't be higher. And what a start Sweden have made. Johanna Skottheim flying out of the blocks. Of course, the nerves, the anticipation, the anxiety of being here on a home course, home snow with the crowd behind you. She's quickly leading the way out. Italy have moved up well into third, with France just dropping back with Jean Richard as they come into this first climb.
It's nice to see Skottheim on the start order. She sat out some competitions a few weeks ago in Sweden, just reportedly not feeling well. So to see her back in health at the front of this field for a strong Swedish team, it's got to be a huge boost of confidence for her too, looking at a possibility of being on that Swedish Olympic team.
Well, that is what all of these athletes want to secure come February. The greatest accolade of them all awaits, the greatest competition of them all, but it takes the hard yards, the hard work through this part of the season. Well, Chad, just looking at the snow, I know we haven't had too many glances of it so far as they're coming around this initial climbing section, but we have had rain over the course of the last couple of days. This isn't a quicker course as we're used to seeing in Östersund.
Yeah, I think the course is holding up really well because it was so cold for the last week. It's double-digit negative temperatures across Scandinavia, but today they're up over freezing. Earlier in the day, they're 3 degrees right now above freezing. But look at the track. It doesn't look like a +0 track. It's because it's held up so well because it's been cold so long. Now, if you want it to be over, go a couple nights with it not refreezing, and then you're going to have some trouble.
Well, we're hoping and expecting that certainly tonight into the early hours of the morning tomorrow, and well, if the weather is ever to be believed, the the forecast that we will have a freezing day tomorrow as we move into the mixed and single mixed relays. Of course, it's a bumper day of action with the men's and women's relays, and it is the 4x6 kilometre for the women that is kicking us off as they come through the 0.8 kilometre mark.
So many nerves as they come through this first time check, but now that they're on the skis, Ellen, that all just kind of melts away. The World Cup season has started, the Olympic World Cup season has started, and you're doing what you've done all year long. You're putting one foot in front of the other, you got the rifle on your back, and you got 5 shots ahead of you in about a half a kilometer. You got to knock them down. It just comes down to that, and the Olympics don't change that.
Well, exactly. I think, as media so often, we like to put so much pressure, so much anticipation on this season, question even last season how preparations are going in the build-up to this one. But I suppose the key for the coaches and a sign of a very good athlete is just letting it act like water off a duck's back. You have to do the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's ever been a sport designed where you need to do that, this is the sport for that. You have to have a very short memory in biathlon. If you have a long memory and an analytical mind like I did, you struggle in this sport.
Well, it is a glorious day to be a fan in Östersund. Of course, only 2 kilometres away from the city centre, this course, and well, when you see the overheads, as I'm sure we will on plenty of occasions, you can see just how close to civilization these tracks in this course is, and it just makes for an incredible atmosphere as they come around these series of sharper turns with Dorothea Vera leading the way. Well, what a season we hope is in store for her. A home Olympic Games, we know she's nearing the end of the road in terms of her career, and this really is a great place to start.
Well, Ellen, I have a system I use of handicapping every relay that I take notes on, and I kind of calculate before the race. And I was really surprised at how close it actually is. France, definitely the strongest field in my calculations coming into today. But the race between Sweden, Norway, Germany, and Italy are all really tight based on my calculations, what I've been doing for about 15, 20 years. So I'm excited to see who can handle the nerves the most of those teams, because I think they all know they have really tight teams, and it could be any one of them on the podium today.
Well, of course, got to acknowledge the slight difficulties that the Latvian team are having. It is challenging conditions. We've seen these tight bends, the snow, a little bit soft underfoot in places where you can see the sun beating down.
Completely different start order this season compared to the Finnish venue in Kontiolahti last year. Big, long climb into the range. This is a little more. Oh, there's the fall of the Latvians you're discussing. She'll be okay. She's right on. She's still got contact with the team. She can shake off the jitters. She'll be fine. But one thing I love about this venue, as opposed to being in Kontiolahti like last year, is it gives these athletes a little bit more confidence. They have a downhill into the shooting range. It's a little less. I mean, Vuokatti is really challenged in the first World Cup stop. This is a little bit nicer on the athletes in Ostersund. But there is wind here. Always windy here.
It is a challenging range, and you can see that on the flags as they pull in for the very first time. And look at the prone shooting hit rates from last season. Jean Richard leading the way.
Shoot on their bib number for the first shooting stage, and from there on in, they fill in the shooting range. Jean Richard, left-handed shooter for France. Trying to get the strong French team off to a good start. That's her job. Just go knock them down.
Quick start for Poland, who are flying through, and a 5 for 5 and will come away. Natalia Sadolovic will be the quickest out of the range by quite some margin, followed by Switzerland, Norway up there as well. Knotten having a great first shoot stage. She'll go into second. And, challenges there, but not in terms of hitting the target, just the speed for Jean Richard, who is 5 for 5 and now will be away, but will find herself quite some way back in the pack.
You know, the Poland quartet is really one of those quartets you can overlook. Every single one of the athletes in that quartet was ranked in the top 70 in the overall World Cup standings. That's not true for almost any other team, at least among the teams chasing the top 5. So Poland to get out on an early lead with Sidorovic, she's proven that she can be among the best biathletes in the world. This is a great start for the Polish team if they can just keep it clean. Yeah,
and she starts really well, doesn't she, in terms of when she comes on to the first World Cup course of the season. 4th in the short individual in Kontiolahti, so close to a first ever podium for her this time last year. And, well, you have to cast your eyes back quite some way for the last time Poland finished on the podium. That was in the 2008-2009 season in Hochfilzen.
But they're off to a good start today. What a way to start the Olympic season, Natalia Sidorovic.
Well, here is the shooting of the woman leading out the Swedish team. And going into the extra rounds, of course, 3 extra rounds. And if there is still a target standing after 8 shots, you'll have to find your way around the penalty loop, which no team want to do this early on in the competition. And of course, that is what has happened here for Skottheim, who started off so quickly. And Chad, well, there's always a huge weight of pressure when you're shooting in front of a home crowd.
Oh, absolutely. The biggest thing is you have to train all year to face that moment. And a lot of times these athletes are thinking just that. They're pretending that the crowd is in their head while they're training over the summer months.
Well, look at the
but
margin.
This is a great opportunity for the Poles to get a break. Sidorovic is a fast skier. She is a. I'm going to pull up the. Sidorovic is a great person to have go out for the Poles in the first spot.
Let's keep an eye on just how this gap is closing. If maybe it is, and it isn't. It is indeed opening. Just under 5 seconds was the gap between Sidorovic and Amy Berserger as they left shooting 1. It's now up to 6.1 with Knotten of Norway leading the charge. Well, you can find sometimes, Chad, of course, that athletes love being chased. They're much happy to be the athlete out the front with the pressure on them from behind, and they are to be the chaser. And this is a role that, as things stand, Sidorovic is embracing with all her might.
Yeah, and Sidorovic is 27 years of age. Really had a great season last year. She had her 3 top results last year in the 2025 season. She was 4th in Kontiolahti in the short individual, 9th in the mass start in Oslo, and she was 11th in the sprint in Hochfilzen. She can do all the disciplines, and that just kind of flies under the radar. But in a relay situation like this, where everybody's kind of prickly on the first day, Sidorovic was a stroke of genius to the Polish coaches to send out there first, because this is a team that can stay out front if they keep the shooting good. They're all fast enough as a team to stay out front.
And it puts pressure, of course, on those chasing behind. And a group of 4. And just a couple of metres back, we have another group of 4.
It's not a big lead, but it's a nice place to be.
Well, we saw just how quickly she shot in the prone position, of course. If she can replicate that in the standing, that could be where the gains are made.
Sidorovic was, in fact, the fastest shooter on that first stage by 3.9 seconds over Dimitrova of Bulgaria. So she's doing it all right. This is great. What a confidence builder for Sidorovic to take her team out this way. At the start of the season.
Well, exactly.
She is
If she can hand over in the lead as well, that certainly will give a huge boost of confidence with her job done for the weekend. You can take a look at the splits, and there's still not much in it. The chase packer managed to cut by 0.3 of a second, but still holding strong out front is Poland, led by Sidorovic.
She's being a little bit obstinate out there, which is great. She is a solid shooter, though, from the standing position. Standing is Sidorovic's stronger of the 2 stages, but just by 1%. She's an 83% shooter, 82 prone, 83 standing. So this is not a flash in the pan, people. This is an opportunity for Poland to go out there and show you the kind of team they put together for the 2026 Olympics.
Well, and you know the crowd love to see an underdog.
Sweden loves underdogs. They are an underdog country.
And so, welcomed into the range is Natalia Sidorovic.
Woven into the social fabric in Sweden. They love the underdog. And I think the Swedes actually, even though they're so good at biathlon, they like to see themselves as the underdog. And and I think they continue to do. They kind of have that psyche. But Sidorovic still leading, has not really given up anything that she gained after leaving the shooting range the first time. Well, in fact, she's gained some time.
Sweden will see themselves as underdogs in this race, with Skottheim down in 19th. So here we go into the range for the final time on this first leg. And it is Sidorovic, who can't replicate that good start.
And Dorothea Viera comes in. As soon as there is a chink in the armor, the Italian comes in and says, let me show you kids how to do this. Dorothea Viera clean, 5 for 5, and suddenly in the lead for Italy. And that is a formidable team to be in the front. Poland trying to do damage control now, but you gotta love Dorothea Viera's start to this season. 1 extra round so far in the day, 9 for 10, 10 for 11. She's off and leading by 9 seconds over Slovakia and Switzerland. The good thing is there aren't any real challengers until you get to Germany and Voigt at 13.8 seconds back.
Well, there is no visit to the penalty loop, thankfully, from the perspective of the Polish team and Natalia Sidolovic.
It was a nice thought, Natalia. Get back into the race and try to give your team a chance. She's not far back. She's 30 seconds. There's a lot of race left. And as I said, she's not the only person from Poland who has a strong reputation and a strong history in the sport. So, you know, a couple extra rounds, 3 extra rounds, doesn't put you out of the competition. But poor Johanna Skottheim.
Yep, our Sweden out of the competition.
2 penalty loops at the thrown.
Well, it is showing up as 1 missed. I wonder whether that's a graphics error, as away from the standing shoot is Skottheim.
Our minds went at the same place. I'm hoping it's a graphic thing because she's going to get a 2-minute penalty if that is not a graphics error. Not taking that final shot. So Skottheim trying to breathe some life into what was potentially a very feel-good moment for her. And now it just loads the pressure on all over again for her. This is a pressure sport. And Sidorovic felt it. The world's gaze is very easily felt in the standing position.
Well, it is such a mental sport, isn't it, as much as it is physical, and that is where the experience of Dorothea Viera can come in so useful. And of course, what successes she has in abundance, and she leads the way and will be the first to come through the 4.8 kilometre mark. And well, just look how significant her lead is at this point. It was 9 seconds when they left the range, and it will be no doubt over that, and even over the 10-second mark, as Amy Beserga will be the next to break the line at 4.8 kilometres, and she'll be 13.8 seconds behind the lead of Dorothea Viera.
She is giving her team a chance. The Italians will go with Michela Carrara, Lisa Vittozzi, and Hanna Alcantara. All of these people have raced and gold medal winning teams at the World Championships. This is a great team from Italy, and if you get a gap like that, and you can see it, you can see the Italians ski away with it.
Yeah, Warsaw World Championships, that was in 2023. Sorry to jump in, Chad, of course.
Yeah, go ahead.
They did finish on the podium on 2 occasions before claiming the world title that season, and of course this would be an excellent precursor ahead of a home Olympic Games if they can replicate that manner of form.
Viera had the fastest shooting time, 39 seconds on the range. And that is buying her some extra time as well. But we've heard good things just through the grapevine that Dorothea Viera is skiing well. She skied very well in Norway, but dropped 3 shots in the sprint and still finished on the podium. So she hasn't been as focused perhaps as she was earlier in her career, but I think the home Olympics is really motivating her, and this is a great way to get off on the right foot.
Well, it has been a huge motivator, of course, Chad, hasn't it, for so long for Dorothea Viera. She's spoken about it, well, pretty much ever since the venue of Milan and Cortina was announced. And this, of course, last year, the topic of all conversation around Dorothea Viera. She had to fight illness and the touches of injury here and there. She made a careful start to her season, opting not to compete in the Loop 1 Festival, instead spend extra time training with the team, and it seems to have paid off. She leads the way, 12.6 seconds. The gap has been cut slightly, just over a second. Amy Beserga has managed to eat into the lead of Dorothea Viera, but at this point, at 5.6 kilometres now, well, a fair bit over that for Dorothea Viera. It is more than done with Dorothea Viera, no doubt, handing over first. And as Chad said, of course, Michela Carrara will be waiting to see her teammate round the final bends as she comes into the handover.
I think it was a smart move for Dorothea Viera not to do those summer races. For one thing, she can do her own thing. And you get older along in years, you have to trust the things that got you to where you are. And she doesn't need those fancy races. She just needs to know how to get back to the fitness she's had at the top of her career and try to find a moment or two of that right around February.
And so Dorothea Viera hands over. Off goes Michaela Kerala. And here is Switzerland handing over. No podium finishes since 2019 in Ruhpolding. And Amy Beserga hands over in a very strong position as Aita Gasparin takes up the charge for the Swiss. Estonia up in third, France in fourth. They've been able to climb back after a slow start and a slow first shoot for Jean Richard, who is there dissecting it all, I'm sure, mentally.
A little surprised at Richard's shooting time. I thought she would be a little bit closer in it at the exchange. Left the range 23.2 seconds back, and at the exchange she is 12 seconds back. So she skied off half of that time that she lost on the range. But you know, no harm, no foul. France is still so strong to be sitting in fourth spot, 12 seconds back. That is a flesh wound, if that.
USA handing over in 13th. As we keep our eyes and keep watching and waiting for the arrival of Sweden. A really challenging first leg for Jana Skottheim, who is pushing all the way through with gritted teeth to try and give Anna Magnusson the best chance of climbing up the order here.
The first leg of the relay, you missed some prone shots. There's just nowhere to hide. You are so exposed to the elements and to the field in biathlon. It's a hard thing to come back from. But Sweden has 3 more legs to still chip away at it. They're only a minute 33 back. We've seen it happen before.
And here's a look back at the handover for Italy. And what a great position. Dorothea Viera, the 2-time total score winner, has put her team in. Here's the composition of the chase pack as, well, Jean Richard got all tangled. And, well, that is not what you want at all, is it?
Lisa Teresa Hauser landed almost on her stock. She's got to make sure that her rifle stock isn't broken. That's a good way to break a stock, is by landing on your rear end like that and then having stock hit the snow with all your body weight. So hopefully nothing but a little bit of a bruised ego for Lisa Teresa Hauser.
It's one of those ones where you wince and grit your teeth when you see athletes go down like that in the exchange. Of course, it is almost pure chaos, and the only way that you can really just get that into things is by doing more relays. And of course, with this being the first of the season, there will always be a slight bit of teething problems as the athletes get back into what is, of course, the first race of the season. As through 6.8 kilometres we go with Michaela Kerala with a healthy lead over Ocean Michelin, of course, the blue bib winner from last season. Aita Gasparin tucked in behind, the youngest, of course, of the Gasparin sisters, and racing without her sisters for the first time.
Ocean Michelin was one of these speedsters on skis as well. If she can get it into the heads of the athletes she's chasing, that she can move past Carrara, maybe force Carrara to ski a little too fast. It's a strategy that could work for the French, and I would expect Michelin to almost catch Carrara by the first shooting stage of second leg.
And here is our Italian leader, Carrara, all out by herself in terms of company on the skis, but you can hear it through the crowds, the noise.
I guess Bren doing a great job hanging with Michelin. She just wants to ride that pace set by Ocean Michelin and the French team and have her pull her to that shooting performance. In there for Norway, second is Ingrid Landmark-Tandvold. She had a spectacular race up in the opening World Biathlon race in Norway, where she came back after being deep in the field to shoot clean in the final stage and snatch the victory in the mass start. It was a great performance. That was the Tandvold of old there.
And that's exactly what she'll need to do this time round. Of course, her challenges well documented last season, but as Ingrid Landmark-Tandvold always does, she held her head high and approached every challenge with a smile on her face. And this time round, of course, with the Olympics on the horizon, she will want to put her and, of course, Norway as well in the best position that they can be. Carrara, into this bend, and she will then pass the chase pack behind, led by Ocean Michelon. Lisa Vittozzi in there as well. Epic Volts, big welcome back, of course, to her. We saw her at the Loop 1 Festival in Munich, and it's great to see her back on the skis, back out on an IBU World Cup for the first time after the birth of her child.
Only 2 teams so far in the top 10 clean. It's Germany in 7th and Czech Republic in 8th, and this Slovakia in 10th itself. But everybody else with extra rounds. That's a pretty high use of extra rounds in the first 2 shooting stages of a relay. You normally have 4 or 5, maybe 6 teams clean so far. So the shooting performance so far, probably a little bit under average across the field. Moni Kakkonen to finish, man in charge of the Italian women's team. Longtime coach in multiple different teams, Team USA, coach for a period, coach for Finland for a number of years. Now Carrara. Trying to find that magic from 2023, as you said, Ellen.
Takes a quick look to one side, just assesses where the wind flags are, and you can see the advantage that she has coming into the range. It's sat at 13.8 seconds, so a growing gap. And Bob will pull up alongside her, stepping down into the prone position on the second leg. Miss for Carrara. Two misses now.
Oh.
She needs to be perfect from here on in.
She is a 79% prone shooter, 73 stand shooter. She's the weakest shooter on the Italian team.
But take a look at Isa Gasparin and Switzerland, who will be away here. And we will have a new leader out on the course. Misses for Ocean Michelon, 2 for Ingrid Lamotte-Tandvold, and it will be a penalty loop at least for Italy. Can they ensure that it is not 2? And it will just be once around for Michaela Carrara.
Stomach ache for Carrara, the most interesting story on the field, and she set them back with a penalty loop. But it's the first race of the season, just trying to get the jitters out. She did a good job of skiing that first lap under control. But now, Isa Gasparin has Switzerland in a good position. We always talk, Ellen, that Switzerland is kind of the team of the future.
Well, they are indeed, and Isa Gasparin, of course, the sprint relay gold medalist at the World Cup leg in Pokluka. Now, she does seem to be performing exceptionally well in her individual legs when you look at them in terms of the relays, and she's made a great start here and has a decent advantage as they come out of shooting 3. Not quite as big as the Italians had at the start of the handover. 7.2 seconds is the difference between her and Halse, with Ocean Michelon within 10 seconds.
Another team you got to look at is Austria, if they can keep the shooting going. They started with Dunja Zdoch, their slowest skier. They've got their fastest skier out there now, and Lisa Theresa Hauser. It's also 87% prone shooter. The Austrians have 84% shooting as a team. That's that is 4th highest in the field. So they're in it with the shooting at 84%. And they have much stronger ski speed than Ukraine or most of the other teams. The only other team that really has them on ski speed with that kind of shooting average are the Big Five.
And the Big Five, and indeed the top 3 scattered, although Germany and France recovering well, but all eyes on Switzerland as Norway dropping back down the field once again. Tandvold leaving shooting after a loop with her team. As well, you can see there some slight confusion. They're just having to take an extra look at her rifle. Tandvold. Norway down in 12th as we go back to the front of the pack as we approach the 8.8 kilometre mark. Oh, just look, Chad, at how quickly Lisa Theresa Hauser has closed that gap, now within a second after leaving shooting over 7 seconds behind.
The Hauser is a faster skier than Gasparin by 1%. Normally, it's not a big difference. But it all depends on what your skis are like that day and how you're feeling. And it looks like Gasparin is maybe just backing off because she knows she wants to hit the targets. Gasparin, a 85% standing shooter, and she doesn't want to set that off against a deadeye like Teresa Hauser, 89%.
Well, you can see Michaela Kalala continuing to try and climb her way back into this. Avoided the penalty loop, but had to use her 3 spares.
But at 27.9 seconds back is not far, Ellen. If she can keep it inside a half a minute at the exchange, it's not a big deal. I think if you consider that third leg is Lisa Vittozzi, you got a grace period there for the second leg of Italy, Michaela Carrara. She just has to really focus on the standing.
I have to give a shout as well to the team from Czechia and Shavatova, who was on the relay team the last time that they took a victory. That was in the 2015-2016 season. It's just a touch off this leading 3.
Gasparin letting Hauser back into the picture as Michelin skis up to him as well. This is probably wise of Gasparin. I think it's okay to do this, because if she just tried to stay out front, she might do more damage. And right now, this is the best strategy for the Swiss to stay at the front of the field. Let the skiing be absorbed and hit your shots. Janina Hettig-Waltz putting in a good loop and putting Germany back in sight of the leaders as well at 7.6 seconds back. Hettig-Waltz, of course, having taken last year off in maternity leave, and she found her stride right back into it.
Well, we saw her at the Loop 1 Festival where she said that she wants to be a pioneer for athletes coming back into the sport after having children, and has her eyes firmly set on a place in the Olympic team come February.
Hauser coming in the lead now. She's got good skis, pulling away from Ocean Michelin. It's a good sign that the Austrians have done their job in the wax room. 87% standing shooter as opposed to Michelin, who's at 84. Both solid. That's not a big enough difference to really swing this race one way or the other from the standing shoot. For the Czech team, go ahead.
Continues to go around the range. Always a slightly unpredictable range here in Östersund, as 4 will pull up together, and they're exactly what you were saying, Chad. The comparisons on the standing shoot hit rate.
Shavatova, a notoriously poor standing shooter. The Czechs athlete at 57% last season. Everybody else in the mid-80s, or low to mid-80s.
Miss for both France and Switzerland. 2 misses for Switzerland. Well, this really is a challenging visit to the range. 3 misses now, and she has to be perfect. Ocean Michelin, Austria, just with 1 miss.
Hauser misses the 1 shot. The opportunity was there, and she let it go. Finland trying to get into it now.
No one wants to take the opportunity, but it will now be Austria and Lisa Hauser who can break away. Germany, well, challenging visit to the range for everyone, but Germany probably being able to take the best of the advantage there.
Yeah, I think Germany's the big winner on that loop. The neighboring countries going to battle now. 5 seconds apart between Hettig-Waltz and Hauser. Michelin 7.6 seconds back. Shavatova did a great job of maintaining contact. She only lost 2 seconds to Michelin. That's a great performance by Lisa Shavatova compared to her normal standing shooting.
And so 1 more lap around they go for these athletes on the second leg before they hand over. They'll focus on Norway and Sweden, and well, what a leg from Hanna Magnusson to climb her way up the order. Now they've overtaken for the first time since the first lap Norway, and the climb continues. Are Sweden yet, Chad, completely out of the picture?
No, they're in it 100%. They're less than a minute back, approaching the halfway mark. Norway could even get it. Well, maybe Norway could have.
2 visits now to the penalty loop for Ingrid Landmark Handover. And, well, the challenges for her on both of the shooting stages continue. You really hoped that an opportunity to go into the relay first up would bring a boost of confidence, but it seems that that's not the way, and the swing of the pendulum between the two great rivals of Norway and Sweden is now in the favour of the Swedes.
Hauser, great. It was a really tough standing shoot. You can see that the athletes are fighting a little bit of the wind. And Östersund, from the TV pictures, it doesn't really give you the actual sense of the wind that a lot of the other ranges do. You have to look at the hair, for example, on her head. It's messing with them more than it looks like on television.
Well, the first thing when I spoke to a couple of the athletes who have raced here over the years, the first thing they said is it's a deceptive course. Whether that be the entrance into the range, having to shoot with a lower heart rate than sometimes you might in other courses. And of course, you said that, as we've identified, and all these athletes have felt in the last shooting stage, the wind as well. So it's well, look at the change here as well. Ocean Michelon down in fourth, Hetic Volts down in third, and Shavasova up into second for Czechia.
Both Hauser and Sharvatova are having great ski legs to close it out. They are flipping the tables on Hetic Volts and Michelin.
And then further down the order in eighth, Karala, just over 32 seconds outside of the leaders. And here is the charge. We know she has plenty of pace on the skis, Anna Magnusson, and she's doing everything to get her team further up the order. She'll be happy to take the toe if she can stick behind Anna-Maria Lampic, who, of course, formidable on the skis.
So Germany will go to speedster Selina Grotian within 5 seconds of the lead if they can maintain the gap to Lisa Theresa Hauser. That is probably, if you look at the personnel in leg 3, Germany right now amongst the leaders looks to be the strongest, along with Bressa Boucher. Bressa Boucher is going to now have to chase down Grotian by more than 5 seconds if this continues to go this way.
And then what a battle if we can keep within probably 5 seconds, both France and of course Germany, because we have Franziska Preuss and Lou Jean Monod back in battle on the final leg for their respective countries.
Always looking ahead. That's a good.
Always looking ahead, Shan. You have to be in these relays, as it can chop and change and turn, as it has done here. Sharvatova into the lead for Czechia. Lisa Theresa Hauser dropping back and maybe just allowing the Czech athlete through. But she's on a charge here. She is on an absolute charge.
We've got Teresa Bornikova going next for Czech Republic, and then closing it off with Marketa Davidova. That is a pretty strong duo to close it out for Czech Republic. But they have to go up against Bressa Boucher, Selina Grotian, and the Austrian Anna Gantler. This is a good relay shaping up here as we head into leg 3.
It's an excellent race as we come into exchange for the second time, and of course everyone will be hyper aware of just where their teammates are to avoid any of the collisions that we saw on the first leg, as Czechia changeover in the lead, Austria in second, France in third. In come Anna Gandler, Vabornikova and Bressa Boucher. Selina Grotian, of course, taking over for Germany, and well, what a race this is shaping up to be.
Lots of opportunities for everybody in this leg, particularly Selina Grotian, to kind of solidify herself as somebody the Germans can count on to get them out of pressure situations in a relay.
And welcome back, of course, to the World Cup circuit, as we see Italy hand over. Michaela Carlala passes the baton over to Lisa Vittozzi, who it is great to see back in action in the World Cup after missing out last year, and of course setting her sights and priorities on a home Olympic Games.
Sweden trying to inch back something of a march on the front of the field to go to Ella Halverson for the third leg. You know, it's not that far back, but you look at the pedigree of the people she's going up against. Ella Halverson doesn't really hold, if any, much of an advantage both in skiing and shooting on the people she's chasing, which makes it a tough deal for the home team.
What you would say, though, is, of course, she had a spectacular season last time out. World silver medalist in the individual in Lenzerheide, her first solo world medal, and she really broke into the scene with 6 top 10 finishes. She will need to draw on all of that experience gained last season if she's to help Sweden further up the order, handing over in 11th. And, well, when you look at the situation that they found themselves in after the first lap, you have to say that's great work from all involved to get them up to this position. Can they now keep climbing, as Chad says, up against some incredibly established names in the sport?
Not a clean team on the docket right now. Everybody with at least one, everyone with at least 2 extra rounds. The best shooting team right now is Slovakia with 2 extra rounds. Well, actually, Bulgaria with 1 extra round, but they're not skiing at the level they need to be in the race. Czechia with 4, the least among the top 3. Germany shooting very well, 6.7 seconds back, missing only 3 shots at the exchange. And Norway way off the back here.
Yep, and this is not the position by any means that they'd want to be in, and of course a very different picture to where we would put Sweden. Of course, their mistakes coming earlier on in the competition, it does give them time to recover. Just how much recovery can Norway do as we go into leg 3?
Ragnhild Svemsteinevicki. She's the fastest skier they sent on the course yet for Norway last year. She's an even skier with Handover, but 79% shooter for Svemsteinevicki. It doesn't look good for Norway at the moment. They need to kind of outperform their normal shooting scores to be in it today.
Well, it is looking good for France, though. Justine Bressard-Boucher not waiting, not hanging around at all. She's up into the lead as they came through the 12.8 kilometre mark. She was level with Anna Gandler.
Look at Lisa Vittozzi, though.
Behind, yeah.
She's moved up from 28 seconds back at the exchange to 15 back at 12.8K. That's a big move by her. The question is, can she shoot through that kind of effort?
Mencic on this leg for Slovenia. They're just sitting in that 10th position, and Ella Halvorsen will have her eyes firmly fixed on the iconic kit of Slovenia.
I get the feeling that Bressard-Boucher is kind of what we say, walking the dog right now. I don't think she's trying to pull away. Probably playing it safe. She knows she's in a lead position. She doesn't want to damage her ability to race for the win as Germany now joins them from behind. So Lina Grotjan trailed by 6.7 seconds. She's now right on the heels, 3 seconds back, and she's basically gonna catch this group of 3 at the front before they come in for prone shooting.
Of course, a breakthrough season on the senior stage for Selina Glottian. Of course, we knew exactly what she could do as a previous World Junior champion, but really leaving her mark and taking a victory in Annecy and the Grand Bornand in December in the mass start, and inside the top 10 in the final score as well. So here is
go ahead.
Justine Bressard-Boucher through 13.6 kilometres, and it's a very tight-knit pack here with Selina Grottian inside 3 seconds behind the leader. And here is, well, the one to watch this season, Lisa Vittozzi, who is trying to continue to cut the gap but hasn't been able to do as much through the last 2 checkpoints as she did after picking up the baton.
I gotta say, Ellen, I'm not sure I like the tactics of Bressard-Boucher. She is a stronger skier than this, and she's letting Lisa Vittozzi into this race right now. And Lisa Vittozzi is a strong shooter, so it's not like she's putting Vittozzi on any kind of her heels at all. Bressard-Boucher a 77% shooter in total, Vittozzi 92%. Why would you back off and let the Italians back in?
Well, exactly. That was one of the things that we saw at the Loop 1 Festival, where Lisa Vittozzi made her return. Precise, cool, calm, collected, professional display, and nothing less than you'd expect from the woman, of course, who the season before last took the total score.
It's a bit of a gamble on the tactics, I think, by Bressard-Boucher. Either that or she's just not in the shape we're used to seeing her on the ski side. But regardless, she should be able to put time on Vornikova and Gauntler on that loop. And instead, Grottian lies down 3 seconds back, and Vittozzi's going to lie down 15 seconds back. She just opened the door wide open.
Yeah, of course, when you see the hit percentage, particularly of Bornikova. So here we go, shooting 5 of 8. And it's Czechia and Austria quick to start. Gandler going incredibly well. She's going quickly as well. That's 4 for 4. Can she make it 5? She does. And Austria will be out in the lead. Germany and Selina Grottian will be dipping and having to use all of their extra rounds. Can she keep Germany out of the penalty loop? Boucher taking her time. Lisa Vittozzi will be up and into third.
What did I tell you? That's exactly what I'm talking about. And to make matters worse, you've still got Austria out front, and Anna Gantler, at 24 years of age, is a talented skier. She has not shown what she can do yet. Her dad was an Olympic silver medalist as a cross-country skier in 1998. She is of pedigree, but she's still developing and giving Austria a chance to win their first World Cup.
Look at this for Germany. Twice around the penalty loop will be Selina Grottian. And, well, the work that Franziska Preuss will have to do on the final leg is just slowly getting bigger and bigger.
So at exchange 2, Italy was 28 back. After Prone won, they're 13 ahead, and they're going up against Boucher. I am flabbergasted at that. And Boucher is clean. I don't know if Boucher is perhaps not feeling well today, but that is not a ski performance I would have expected of her.
Well, she really was taking her time in the range as well, whereas Lisa Vittozzi in and out, job done. And, is trailing 13.4 seconds behind Anna Gandler. But of course, we know how formidable she can be on the skis, and it won't be long if that first lap was anything to go by until that gap is closed.
France can also rely on Lou Jean-Monod going fourth as opposed to Italy putting on Hannah Alcantara. But you don't want to give Italy 30-40 seconds to go for Lou Jean-Monod to chase her down. That just makes Jean-Monod's job twice as hard going on the last leg, trying to chase and catch the Italians. But right now it's Gantler. She's holding off the Italians just fine. For the next time check, it'll be a telling tale at 14.8.
Well, of course, like so many of the names that we've already mentioned today, it wasn't a smooth sailing season for Anna Gandler last time out, cutting the end of the season short. I think it's the first time she's back on the World Cup stage since February, and she will be first through the line at 14.8 kilometres. Now keep your eyes on the time and keep your eyes on who breaks the line first between the next two athletes over, and it will be Boucher, who has cut the gap 11.8 seconds, and side by side with her Lisa Vittozzi.
This is shaping up to be a bit of a pressure cooker for these two stars of the sport. What a great treat to the first race of the season. And Gantler's got to be pinching herself up there. 0 plus 5 extra rounds. She just got to keep the rounds going down. Even if she misses 1 or 2 standing, it's fine. Just get the extra rounds and get out of the range and get to the finish and the exchange so that you have a shot in the last leg.
Poland climbing back up to 5th. It's Anna Maka on this leg. Slavia Kuzmina down in 7th for Slovakia, as Zella Halverson now breaking into the top 10. We do have Hanna Öberg going on the final leg for Sweden. And of course, she has shown some great early season form.
I was a bit surprised to see that Elvira wasn't on there, but I expect to see her in tomorrow's either single mix or mixed relay. And a lot of racing in Östersund this week, and it comes quickly and back to back. And you've got to make sure that you're healthy coming into a weekend like this so early in an Olympic season that you don't want to throw it all away just by racing too much. But look at Anna Gantler. This is great skiing from her. And what a confidence boost this will be if she can deliver the lead at the exchange. She's going to hand off to Anna Andexer, who was 66th ranked in the world last year. Not a real superstar, but still 84 and 78% shooting overall, 84% thrown. That's the kind of person who can get it done if they have a great day.
And the gap has opened up now between Boucher and Lisa Vittozzi, but all eyes on Anna Gandler.
And the time gaps you're looking at Ellen, are not big time gaps. They're not worth skiing down 11 seconds when you can, if you just hit your targets, you can make all this time up on the range. Warnikova staying tough for the Czechs, just not going away. I like that performance so far.
So into the stadium and into the range they come, led by Anna Gandler. Welcomed by the wall of noise that we so regularly expect whenever we step foot in Scandinavia.
I'd be hard-pressed to prove it, but I don't think Anna Gandler has ever led in a Biathlon World Cup into a final stage that she's been skiing in any event. So this is, regardless of what happens here, this is great experience for the young Austrian.
So Brassard-Boucher continuing to close the gap as they came into shooting, but we know how much it can all change. She'll pull up alongside Anna Gandler.
Nice composed hit. Hold is really good. Very little barrel movement. There's a miss though. Jumped on that third shot just a tiny bit with the trigger. Goes to the extra rounds.
Look at Brassard-Boucher. She's 4 for 4. Can she make it 5? Takes her time, and she does. And she will be away. Well, they all will be side by side. Bornikova just a touch off the pace at the back. And what a final lap on this third leg we have in store.
Synchronized shooting to take the lead. Gandler now is going to try to stay with the big guns. Lisa Vittozzi and Justine Brassard-Boucher. If you're a 24-year-old dreaming of a future in biathlon, this is a great place to find yourself if you're Anna Gandler.
Now here the pack behind, and is this where Ella Halvorsen will be able to make some gains?
Kuzmina for Slovakia. Trying to find the form that made her back-to-back World or Olympic champion and put Slovakia back on the map.
Miss for Sweden. Kuzmina going well. She's 5 for 5 and away, and she will go into 5th.
Look out, world. Anastasia Kuzmina is back. She looked good there. That was world-class biathloning from her. That's exciting to see with the Olympics looming. Everybody gets out clean.
Well, unable, Sweden and Ella Halvorsen to make the gains that she would have wanted there. And that is better from Grossian. She will round out the top 10 as things stand going into the final lap before exchange, where Franziska Preuss, the reigning total score champion, will be waiting.
You wonder how many more times we're going to see this in the future. She's just 24 years of age and clearly very determined to be somebody in biathlon. Gandler is racing with the big dogs today, and what a great experience for her.
So here's the 16.8 kilometre mark. Justine Brassard-Boucher first through it, but hot on her heels, Lisa Vittozzi. Anna Gandler not too far behind, but there is hardly anything to separate Brassard-Boucher and Vittozzi at this point. Bornikova just dropping slightly back. This, of course, always a challenging final lap when you have to sit with the pace of Brassard-Boucher, Vittozzi, and Gandler at the moment doing so well.
Yeah, this is great stuff for the early part of the season, too. As a coach, you want to see these athletes going into that anaerobic system so they can use that and develop it. These early season races, a lot of the athletes are still trying to find it. And Brassard-Boucher, we saw her start relatively under control. Thought she would have skied a little quicker, but now she looks like she's given it.
Yeah, didn't make the quickest start to the season last time round, did she, Jad Brassard-Boucher, but peaked in time for the World Championships and performed well after that as well. So this, if you're looking at starting the season well, has been a good performance from the French woman.
Yeah, and I think she's actually capable of a lot more ski speed than she's showing right now. She's just probably not in that kind of shape yet, and that's fine. You want to hit that form right around January 29th, you know, about a week before the Olympics.
Well, take a look at this. Ella Halvorsen up to 5th. And she's just outside a minute, 65.8 seconds behind. She'll hand over to Hannah Öberg. And they will be hoping for, well, some misfortune from the athletes in front of them, you feel. Although we know what Hannah and indeed her sister Elvira Öberg are capable of doing in pursuit-style races.
Yeah, they're in a respectable place now. They're in 5th spot. But the problem is they're almost a minute back. They're 50 seconds back of the 4th place team. And they are, you said it right, they're going to have to rely on other people messing up to get back into the podium fish. But look at Austria with a leg to go. They're hanging on here with 2 of the best teams in the world. In fact, if you put Hanna Augenthaler up against Anna Andexer, they're pretty well matched. Each -1 ski time, 85% shooting for Hanna Augenthaler, 78 for Andexer, so a little bit of an advantage to the Italian. But Austria has a chance of medal here in a relay, the first relay of the year.
Allez-Lou is the cry from the crowd as Brassard Boucher drives towards her teammate. She has Lisa Vittozzi over her shoulder, and both of their work is now done. Lou Jean-Minot will take over in the lead just to the side of her Hanna Augenthaler, who of course, well, has good pedigree when it comes to relay races, part of the gold medal winning team in 2023 in Oberhof. Austria 3.7 seconds behind as Andexer picks up the baton for the Austrian nation and waiting patiently. But very much in the picture still is Czechia. As Bornikova hands over to Marketa Davidova, and of course great to see Marketa Davidova back on the skis. It wasn't an ideal season for her last time round, but we know the potential and the capabilities that she has, and you wouldn't rule her out of this one or the Czechia team, Chad.
No, it was a great performance by her coming back, and she's in a great position to kind of test herself for her team, which would be a nice affirming thing for her team to realize that she is back in support of them. Dubrovnikova, I have to say, she did a nice job of keeping the damage control minimal. She's 22 seconds back of the Austrian, and Marketa Davidova can certainly, with a good performance, catch the Austrian Anna Andexer in this final leg.
Well, Austria will be hoping that's not the case because, well, it has been a very long wait indeed to find a podium. If they can do it, that is. They've never finished on a podium. They were 5th in Novi Mesto and Kontiolahti last season, 4th at Lenzerheide at the World Championships, but they have never stood on the step of a podium as a quartet on an IBU World Cup. And, well, here we go. Franziska Preuss rounding the corner. Germany down in 10th. She has a whole lot of work to do.
Yeah, anytime you have 2 penalty loops in the first 2 stages, it's just tough to dig out from that. And Grotjean just maybe a little too many jitters at the situation. I really thought Grotjean had the opportunity to take control of the ring. I half expected her to, but you know, biathlon is a tricky sport, and that's the way it is. It's early season. You don't have a lot of experience recently of having these head-to-head competitions against these people you haven't seen for about 9 months. But look at the focus on Lou Jean-Minot. She is trying to put some distance between herself and her chaser.
Well, it was such a big talking point, wasn't it, for us last season, Chad? Is it when Lou Jean-Minot is in the zone, she has that special place where she can go to in her mind, and things just click for her. And you see it so regularly in the relays because that's where she's confident, that's when she's calm. And, well, she had a record-breaking season last time out, 8 individual wins, and, of course, missing out on what she wanted so desperately, the world title, but her focus now on performing for the French team this season, and of course the Olympic Games on the horizon. Twice she's missed out on the total score. Could this be her year, Chad?
Absolutely. I think it almost leans her way. I think she's almost a favorite. The fact that she'll be hungrier than anybody else that's capable of winning that title, and I think that is going to be a formidable thing to contend with if you're not her. Here's Sweden, just too far back. It's just there's not enough race left.
Well, let's keep our eyes on the time, and well,
I'm sorry, Sweden.
Yeah, as soon as I saw the distance between Hanna Öberg and well where they were when she was coming towards the time check there, 70 seconds outside of the lead, and of course this is a lead where Lou Jean-Monod is pushing the pace, and we have this exceptional battle then going on behind between Italy and Austria, and of course Czechia not out of the picture yet either, although Marketa Davidova does find herself just inside 30 seconds behind our leader Lou Jean-Monod.
Well, if history is anything and likelihood is any matter in the storytelling of this event, this is where Lou Jean-Monod skis away for victory for France, and skis and shoots her way for victory, I should say. But she's certainly the class of the field left on the ski tracks. Then you have a great race behind her, because Marketa Davidova is 30 seconds back. If she'd been 15 back, might have been a foregone conclusion that Czech would catch these two teams. But Alcantara and Andexter have a great opportunity here to put their teams on the podium, and you do not want to lose those opportunities. You never know when you get them again.
Well, it has been quite some time since we've seen Italy on the podium, and of course seeing France and Italy side by side through that last lap, reminiscent of some excellent battles that we've seen over the years. But it has been a long old wait since Italy last stepped foot, and that was of course the World Championships in Oberhof. France though, well, podiums in there plenty last season. They didn't finish off one on the World Championship, on the World Cup in the relay, and so frequently it was Lou Jean-Monod whose hard work really paid off.
Well, looking back at the course time of leg 2, Bryce Boucher only 1.5 seconds ahead of Halverson and 5 seconds ahead of Lisa Vittozzi. She's certainly capable of more skiing speed than that, and I would actually expect her to have it by the Olympic Games. So a relatively ho-hum ski performance by Bryce Boucher, but effective nonetheless.
Well, just look at that prone shooting hit rate. Lou Jean-Monod head and shoulders above the rest as she drops down into the prone position. She will be joined by Andexter and Ockenthaler.
94% is insane.
And she starts with a hit. That's 4. And it's a perfect start for Lou Jean-Monod. You can hear the roars from the crowd. She is ever so popular on the World Cup circuit. A miss for Italy and Ockenthaler. It's now 3 misses for Austria, who will need to be perfect from here on in to ensure that they don't have a visit to the penalty loop. And Andexter will need to gather her nerves now.
And Andexter putting herself in a deep, deep hole. She's taking one shovel load at a time to get out of it, though. But in the meantime, Czech Republic's filling that hole right back in with 4 straight shots from Davidova, and she's going to roll right past the Austrian. The Austrian dream, they can catch up, but she is no match for the Czech skier.
And Marketa Davidova will go into 3rd, and she'll have her eyes fixed on the back of Hanna Ockenthaler. You can see Hanna Öberg dropping down. Well, she'll be desperate to get these shots down as quickly and effectively as possible.
Yeah, if Hanna Öberg was chasing Andexter for the bronze, I think there's an opportunity. Davidova is going to be a tougher task.
Well, that is how you do it. That is how you do it, Hanna Öberg. That is spectacular.
She's going to prove me wrong. That was great shooting by Hanna Öberg to kick off her World Cup campaign.
Well, what a watch. It is just a beautiful thing to hear the targets go down in that manner, with that rhythm, the speed, the accuracy. She had it all. Well, now let's keep watching at the time. We'll quickly look back to Lou Jean-Monod, who of course, well, as we expected, performing in the manner that she has set the standards of over the course of the last couple of years.
Hanna Öberg not moving any closer to Lou Jean-Monod, but she's moving closer to every other medal position with that shooting performance.
Ockenthaler up into second, and so just if we take a look at the timings, it's 30 seconds between Anna Andekser and Hanna Öberg, and of course Andekser and Davidova not too far apart, but a long way from everyone else at the moment is Lou Jean Minot. It was a 24-second and almost 25-second advantage she had over Hanna Ockenthaler as they left the range. This is the 20.8 kilometre mark.
The great thing about Hanna Öberg's situation is that nobody is going to expect her to make up that time, but if she does, it's the legendary type of stuff. And anytime you have a legendary opportunity, you might as well go for it. They've got nothing to lose, so Öberg might find that magic that she maybe has been missing a little bit last few years, and in a situation like this, could turn it around.
I remember a mixed relay last season. Now the venue escapes me, but I believe it was one of the two German races where the Swedish men were far behind on the first two legs before the women took over, and the excellent work of the Öberg sisters combined to see them take the victory, and it really was a spectacular day and really, really class racing. Now, let's keep our eyes on the time. It will once again be outside the 60-second mark. She's gained 2 seconds on the leader, but of course the battle will continue, and she'll need to do the same in the range in standing before heading out on the final lap.
The gap's still 30 seconds to the podium. No matter what, she needs to shoot 1 or 2 shots better than everybody ahead of her on the shooting range. So if they clean, it's going to be a tough go for Hanna Öberg to make up the time in this short loop. Just 2 kilometers is loops, so not a lot of time to make up a gap of 30 seconds on the skis.
But still, it's enough of an indication of the form that we already knew that Hanna Öberg was in through the early season results that we'd seen her and, of course, her sister Elvira put down after, well, a challenging season for both last season. But it is back to business as usual for Lou Jean Minot.
Yeah, nice to have that buffer that she just created for herself. She just kind of chipped away the time. The time keeps going her way as these two skiers see her ski away, but you can see the dynamic pushes of Marketa Davidova, slightly more forward position. Keeps her hips a little back, but she is very dynamic skier. Hanna Ockenthaler, a little more mechanical, not quite as dynamic, not quite as loose on her pushes, and that's why Marketa Davidova is catching her.
And of course, we talked about certain biathletes starting well. It was, of course, Marketa Davidova who started exceptionally last season with a sprint win in Kontiolahti, and well, unfortunately, the rest of her season, most of it last season, missed out through injury. She tried to make a return towards the end of the season, but then suffered a similar issue once again. So great to see her back and racing, and, well, she's desperately trying here to close the gap to Hanna Ockenthaler. So into the range for one final time. 8 shooting stages later. Lou Jean Minot takes a look across to the wind flags that continue to spin, twist and twirl. A significant advantage here. Italy will be next into the range, but we're still waiting to see Hanna Ockenthaler come in and round that corner. A miss for Lou Jean Minot.
Fighting for the focus. Great job. She brought it back together, even in the wind. Oh, another miss.
And France are now away with Lou Jean Minot. And it will be a first victory of the season. Italy moving well with Ockenthaler. 5 for 5, a great standing shoot.
Well done, Hanna Ockenthaler. Shows up a second place on the podium for Italy. Great start for the Olympic hosts.
Well, let's take a look at the battle behind now, because Czechia away with Marketa Davidova. How quickly can Hanna Öberg get these 5 down? Oh, there's the miss, and it will be a costly miss.
I was going to say that quickly, but you know, that one miss is probably the difference. She could probably almost catch Davidova if she had hit that shot, but now it's just a bridge too far, I think. Anna Ondexer got a hand. Oh, she got the penalty loop. I thought she got put the 5 down, but nice try, Austria. We'll see you down the road.
And it will be Hannah Röberg who emerges in 4th. Lou Jean-Monod leading the way, has Hannah Ockenthaler behind her, and she's being roared on by the coaching staff who are out around the course here in Östersund. But we know what Lou Jean-Monod can do. When she's dialed in, she is unbeatable.
But Hannah Ockenthaler has erased a 31 second gap to be just 10 back. But I would be highly surprised if Ockenthaler can close that 10 seconds. Just counting in my head, I think it's about the same, about 10 seconds still.
We'll keep our eyes on the time. And it will be, as you say, Chad, around the same. She's eaten into it slightly, but she's running out of course here.
And I'm surprised she's making any time on Jean-Monod. This is a great ski performance by Hannah Ockenthaler. Has kicked things off. Marketa Davidova was trailing by 28 seconds, leaving the shooting range, and 18 seconds behind Ockenthaler, and she's actually losing time to both Ockenthaler and Jean-Monod.
And here is Hannah Röberg.
Can she do it? It's going to be, it's just too much. It's 13, 14, 15 seconds. It's just it looks doable from the naked eye, but it's really not.
And it will be painful. 4th place. They've had to fight back so hard after disaster on the first lap. They've recovered so well as a collective team, Sweden. And it won't be enough for a podium today. They won't be able to replicate the excellent start they made last season in Kontiolahti. And it is Italy who, with a collective inspiration, are a focused and a team inspired. And you can understand completely why, but how great is it to see an Italian quartet combine in this manner?
It's great to see. I mean, I think that even with Michela Ferrara not having a very good leg, I mean, she's capable of more. And that would probably put them in contention. You know, they'd be racing Jean-Monod for the win. Jean-Monod would have had to chase a little bit more. So would have Justine Brassard-Boucher. So you clean that second leg up just a little bit for Italy, and all of a sudden you're looking at a chance for a gold medal. And improbable against France. This is such a strong French team. One of the metrics I use is World Cup overall standing, and everybody in the French team is in the top 8 from last year's overall World Cup standings. That's a tough team to put together in any country.
And it will be a first podium in a relay in a decade for Czechia. The last time they stood on the podium, 3rd in Pyeongchang in the 16-17 season. We've spoken so much. There's been so much hype around this season and just how open it is. And this first race alluding to just that. As Lou Jean-Monod takes a look over the shoulder, it is back to business for France. Unstoppable last season, and once again they will stand atop the podium after a record-breaking 24-25. They kick off the 25-26 campaign in style. And take a bow, Italy. Ockenthaler across the line. This is a team revived and a first podium on the top table of world racing since 2023. And this is how much it means to Czechia. a huge performance. And Marketa Davidova across the line in third, almost a decade after the last time they stood on a podium.
Yeah, they're the outperformer. They are the big performers on the day, Czech team. Well, I think Italy's ranking of 6th last year, Ellen, is probably going to change. If you look at the details of the performance, Carrara underperformed and they still finished second, not far back, just 15 seconds back. This could be an Italian team that thrills crowds in Antolz in February.
And across the line, Austria, who were there and thereabouts for so long. I have to correct myself, it was Oberhof in 2019, the last time that Czechia stood on a podium, but still an incredible amount of time. And what a start they've made to this season. And, well, you look back at the success they've had in the past, you hope that they are back to their very best. Of course, missing key players on various occasions last season. And quietly going about her business on the final lap was Suvi Minkkinen, who's helped Sweden up the table, and of course a real fan favourite last season, up to 6th.
Is the next team with Laura Viskova in 9th, then Poland in 10th. Poland 10th place with Joanna Jakela, and then the Poland, the 10th to the half of.
Well, it was a great start for Poland. A top 10 finish as into the home straight, and welcomed into the stadium will be Franziska Preuss. A tough day for Germany, and of course just left them out of contention when Preuss, the reigning total score champion, took over on that final leg.
Yeah, well, could have been a great relay, just ended up being a warm-up for Preuss. She's got a lot going for her this year. She's fit. All reports from Bavaria is that she is on task and ready for the Olympic season. And you look at her psychology last year, it was so bomb-proof that we're going to see greater things from her. Just the team not in it today for Germany, but they're capable as well.
"66 podiums France stood on last season. It was the best in their history, smashing their previous record of 52. And they get off to winning ways in the 25-26 season. A tough day as well for Norway, 4 times around the penalty loop, 4 minutes behind the first over the line.
These are the days you just go back to the hotel and kind of lick your wounds and try to find a ray of hope for a very busy next week of biathlon racing. This is just the first one. Norway is going to do better things, and they've got to just go figure out how to get those shots to go down. There's Margie Freed for the United States coming to the line. The United States opening relays last year didn't get to the finish, so the fact that they're getting to the finish line is a step forward, and they're just let's see, the finish line. They are 5 minutes back, two penalty loops, and some talented skiers on that U.S. biathlon team on the women's side. They just need to season a little bit on the shooting range, and they're going to do some great things in the future.
A race to the line between Estonia and Belgium. As our final teams across the line. Now that is where she likes to be. Lou Jean Minot bringing
Nice to be
France home in the victory.
So we have all team now to the finish line, and we will prepare for the ceremony for the 3 best teams, France, Italy, and Czechia. So, that was it. Are you satisfied with it? It's okay? Well, France, Italy, Czechia, the 3 teams on the pole. Glöm inte att det kommer en stafett här efteråt också. Men det händer mer. Robert, har du gått in i nationskampen där borta?
Det kan du ge 17 på. Kolla här vad jag hittat. Jag har hittat 2 stycken klenoder från läktaren. Har vi fått kameran på de här 2 grabbarna? Nej, vi håller på med lite annat nu.
Robert, det är ju nästan som att se mig. Jag har ju halvt om halvt här.
Kolla här. Kolla in vad jag hittar här på läktaren. Det här, jag undrar, vad heter ni grabbar?
Mattias. Jag heter Björn.
Har ni någon nationskamp emellan? Vad är det, vilken utstyrsel?
So the first results of the season, France back on top, Italy back on the podium, and it's been a long old wait for Italy, as it had been for Czechia. The last time they stood on a podium was in 2019 in Oberhof. It was also Oberhof, but for Italy after the World Championship victory in 2023, and both of those back into the podium positions. As we look further down, a challenging day for both Norway and Germany as well.
Yeah, it's amazing what the Italian relay can do when Lisa Vittozzi comes back. Great to have her back in the lineup, because all of a sudden you're a strong medal.
And so, of course, all done with the first race of the day. And the first race of the 25-26 BMW IBU World Cup season. Challenging start for Jean Richard, but her team still over the line, of course, in first.
Okay, I will get it.
You wonder who will take on each of the races tomorrow. A mixed relay and single mixed relay on the way on the action on Sunday, day 2 of the opening weekend of the World Cup here in Östersund, where there's plenty of bobbing around to stay warm, although it isn't as cold as you may expect in Östersund this weekend, above freezing, although we hope it drops just below it tomorrow.
Looking at the analysis of each leg, the Swedes took 2 of the 4 legs. It won't take much to right that ship if they get a better start next time, and Anna Magnusson beating Lampic for leg number 2, 17:43.8, but the fastest time of the day was Dorothea Vier, 17:12, and Hanna Oberg had the fastest final loop at 17:31.7. So the Swedes doing 2 or 3/4 of their job today at home, but you got to stay on the penalty loop in that first prone. That is the death of a biathlon relay, is to go to the loop in the first shooting stage. Dorothea Vier looked good. It's great to see her looking sharp.
blue, congratulations. Starting a season with a win, can this feeling be any better?
No, it's always difficult to start the season. You know, you can't really know where you are if the preparation went well. So starting the season this way, it's the best way to get confident.
It was quite an interesting competition today with quite a few changes. What about your leg? Were you confident that you would take the win, or did you feel any pressure?
Yeah, a lot of pressure. To be honest, my prone shooting was not so good the last month, so I was a bit afraid of it today. So I'm happy to do a clear shot on prone shooting, and the standing shooting was quite a mess. So I think it's the best way to start, because the relay with this spare bullet is. Yeah, it's a good way to keep calm and to stay on the most important thing during shooting. So yeah, it's just the best for the upcoming individual races.
And you did an amazing job today for your team anyway. Congratulations again.
Well, look at the relay score. Always great to hear from Lou Jean Monod. Chad, what did you take from that first interview of the season?
Well, I think when you look at an athlete like Jean Monod, she generally is having a good time doing her sport. I think it's a good place to be. But the one thing that I've noticed that I think she has, why she's emerged at the top of the field, is she is so on her mental game. She knows what makes her happy. She knows how to answer those questions. The tone with the press, the way that you talk to yourself. That is what gets you the performances that Lou Jean Monod is getting in these sports, and she's a master at it, and that's why she's the top of the world.
Här kommer ju till godbit. Det är World Cup Östersund, finns en bild på staden också. Här kommer det till farbror. Tjenare, vad heter du? Asse Jonsson, det känner man ju igen alldeles ypperligt. Jag har ju sett det på skittävlingar sedan jag var liten själv. Det är ju matta till ändå. Just det, du kan det här med skidskytte. Nu kan du säga så här, nu är det bra samtidigt.
And so for the first medal ceremony of the season. And plenty of very happy faces. Important days in the history for both Italy and Czechia. Big confidence boosters for plenty who will receive their medals in this first medal ceremony, not just of the season, of the day, of course, with the men's relay coming up later on. A quick break between the two as we return at 4:55 Central European time. A first podium since Oberhof in 2019 for Czechia.
Podiums never get old.
And you know the work that has gone into that one, the individual battles that each of these athletes have faced over the course of, well, when you look at Marketa Davidova, will be first to have the medal hung around her neck. In the last 12 months, she has struggled to fight back from injury and the challenges of the relentless World Cup season, of course. And we hope that this time round, with the Olympic season, of course, getting underway today, that she can maintain her form through the season, and those individual performances will come as well.
Yeah, she's super talented. When she's at her best, she is fun to watch doing biathlon. She's one of the most natural biathletes that I've ever seen do the sport. And but you have to be healthy, and she's battled some things that have just kept her on the sidelines. But I hope to see her back this Olympic year. She looked good so far today.
And Dorothea Vera leading Italy up to podium and up to second place. A really important victory, you feel, Chad, in the narrative for Italy this season. Of course, the first time on the podium since 2023 in the World Championships win in Oberhof. You can see Lisa Vittozzi's clearly noticed someone that she recognises in the crowd there. Just how important is her return to this Italian squad?
It's absolutely critical. It makes them a gold medal contender for the Olympic Games. And if you look at Hanna Augenthaler and her teammate, what they had to do today, it is a game changer for them, particularly because all of a sudden they are medal contenders, not only just medal contenders, but Olympic champion potential with her back. And they did a great job today. Hanna Augenthaler definitely stepped up and delivered. I think we're going to need to see a little more from Carrara. Who that would be remains to be seen, but she's just got to hit the target. So it comes down to when the pressure comes on, the Olympic Games, and you're standing there and you put a penalty loop on, that is, you can't get that back. There's one chance in a lifetime to do that, and she's got to fix that between now and then.
And back on top, France picking up where they left off. The world champions.
Shaky
some
start.
mettle and resilience as well today, Chad, I think you have to say.
Yeah, I was going to say shaky start, but it's a win is a win is a win. And this is not the only group of people that can run this relay for France. They can mix and match some of the people who are not on the start line today, but this team, it was good enough to win, and it's one of multiple teams that get forward to be the best in the world. And it's a nice place to be in when you're France going to the Olympics.
Well, 251 days since we last heard an a cappella rendition of the French national anthem. They are well and truly back, and it is when that group of travelling fans get together and belt out the national anthem with that level of pride and passion. It is always one that just raises the hairs on your arms slightly, Chad.
Yeah, it's one of my faves. I just love it. And it's a great tradition that they're starting to set at victory ceremonies for a French biathlon team who just keeps winning, and that's a good feeling. It doesn't come easily, and it takes a long time to build. So enjoy it while you have it, France.
France victorious in the first relay of the season. Italy back on the podium, and a historic day for Czechia as well. Their first victory since their first podium since 2019. Of course, the awkward wait for the photos to be over as the athletes now step down. Well, will it be the only time that we hear the a cappella French national anthem today? Potentially not. A big men's relay coming up next, and that is in just over a couple of hours' time, 4:55 Central European time, and the start list for that is already out. So make sure you go and keep yourself up to date with everything from the races over the course of this afternoon, the early part of this afternoon, on the World Biathlon Instagram, and of course the website as well, where you can get all the information and the details for the races for the rest of the week. We will be back in just over an hour or so's time.